starting with the man that appointed himself first, and that is Bretzo. Is Bretzo here?
Probably.
Bretzo is known, it's self-identified himself as Philadelphia's premier fanboy-lesker. He sent me a really long bio about all the awesome things he does. But I'm just going to say he is the man, the myth, the mustache, the amazing Bretzo. The first challenger that appeared is another boylesker from New York. His name is Sharp Robert. So Sharp Robert, his campaign has been defined by one thing: his desire to stop Bretzo. His platform is just the not Bretzo platform. The third candidate to enter the race is Sway Bradbury. Sway Bradbury is the only female candidate running for the top office in this traditionally female-dominated field. Her platform is critique is critical, encouraging more honest feedback in the burlesque community instead of blind compliments. Her thesis is all about energy exchange with the audience. Welcome our candidates, everyone. Woo! So, well, here are the rules. The rules are, there will be some questions. They each have a time limit to answer, which is whatever I decide. Or you guys could just be like, that's not interesting anymore, and start clapping and booing. I don't know. If they want to rebuttal on any of the questions, they have to show their butt. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so we're gonna start. I guess I'm just gonna sit here because I don't know. I feel like this is. Oops. I hope they have to squeeze by if they have to bring anybody drinks, but. All right. So yeah, get closer to each other. Don't fight or whatever.
No clawing.
All right. Let's start with Bretzo. Bretzo, can you tell me what is real burlesque?
Thank you. I want to thank Annie for. Sorry.
Annie, I want to thank you for moderating tonight, and I want to thank Full Front Street for hosting us. Also to our corporate sponsor, Honeygasm, herself, Honey's Your Evil Eye. We'll also thank Josh Schoenwald back in there manning the DJ. Come on, give it up for Josh Schoenwald for a DJ. All right, I mean, one of the great things about Philadelphia Burlesque is its audiences. The audiences are just as beautiful as the performers. I mean, please, you guys, please get up for yourselves right now. All right, thank you, Teal, for clapping for yourself. And thank you.
So I forgot, there's another rule. That is, when you don't answer the question, you get a spanking.
Woo!
And I think Teal's volunteering to do the spanking. Should we let Bretzo slide on that one? I think, yeah, okay. Well, No, Retzo, actually you knew that was a rule. I just forgot to announce it. So
okay.
you gotta get like a couple of spanks.
We're gonna go with 2.
Answer the questions, guys. Okay.
You get this.
What is real burlesque?
Thank you for having me. You know, as a black man in burlesque, I think that answering the question, what is real burlesque, is kind of like starting from sort of a racist base in general. I'm not sure why this entire competition is rigged against me from the beginning. Like the first question, like I'm not sure, Annie. Like I don't know why you're sort of like going for either Brett or Sway before I even have a chance to even talk about any of my opinions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's a very valid answer. Okay. What is real burlesque?
I think real burlesque is any art form wherein the narrative structure is related to the concept of tease. It can either be related to a character transformation or to the act of getting progressively more naked. But what I believe real burlesque and what I love about burlesque is when you create this manufactured intimacy of either from a voyeuristic standpoint or from an emotional standpoint. And I think that connection to the audience is what makes burlesque real.
Very well. Okay, the next question is, for all of you, do you have any of the following items with you tonight? Scissors, hot glue, or glitter?
I do have glitter and scissors with me tonight.
As a black man, I don't understand why it's required of me to carry any of those items with me at any given time. Just because I'm a black man who gets naked in bars, like I'm required to have scissors, hot glue, and glitter. I don't understand this debate.
You know he can't have weapons.
He can't have weapons.
Did you answer the question?
Nope, he didn't answer.
He didn't answer.
He didn't
He
answer.
did not answer.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for calling that.
Is this eating into my time?
Yes. Little butt.
Progressively more spanks.
Oh yeah, progressive, like
Progressively
taxes
more spanks.
stuff.
So what, you're on a progressive platform?
You're on the platform.
I do have actually 2 out of the 3. I had to leave my hot glue at home because it was concealed with it.
Okay, very well. That was sort of to assess the candidate's preparedness for the office, if they're fit to hold the office, you know. So yeah, take note. 2 of the candidates have scissors and glitter, and 1 candidate has none of the above. All right. So the next question, is for Sharp Robert. As the only person of color running for the office of #self-described president of Philadelphia Burlesque, what do you think about the quote-unquote diversity in the burlesque scene? And what can producers do to try to draw more artists and audience into the community?
Woo.
Thank you, Annie. As a black man, this question actually has plagued me quite a bit in the last year and a half that I've been performing in Philadelphia. I'm not sure exactly what the answer is. I do wonder if one of the things that we're doing is sort of having is is our scene so self-incestuous that we're only marketing to the same group of people all the time? I'm not sure how we reach out to other audiences, other communities, because there are shows out there that feature burlesque, like The Sweet Spot, which has 200 or 300 people of color in their audience every time they come to Philadelphia. So there's obviously a desire there. And I'm not sure what we're doing wrong that they're doing correctly. I mean, we may need to start promoting in ways that we are reticent to, because we're so used to promoting online in the same like 20 coffee shops or comic book stores. Maybe we need to get on the radio. Maybe we need to find smaller newspapers and things like that that other communities are looking at that we don't particularly tend to think of as being relevant to our audience. But I think at the end of the day, as a producer, though, we are completely leaving money on the table. And also, as a culture, we're losing out on like a lot of artists, a lot of talent that can bring you a lot of unique perspectives.
Very well, thank you. The next question is for Brezzo. Brezzo was recently caught by the ENN News Network canoodling with Sven Inches in the neighborhood, in spite of the fact that he has a girlfriend. In your opinion, does this help or hurt your brand?
Sven has a girlfriend?
He has several, actually. Yes, that is a great question, Annie A-Bomb. I will have to defer to my social media network analysts. Unfortunately, they are not here right now. I would like to tell them, please delete that message.
Okay. The next question is for Sway Bradbury. What is the creepiest thing that's ever happened to you as a female burlesque performer?
This event?
So, as far as the creepiest thing, God, there's like 2 really good stories. And by good, I mean... the first one is I did a Halloween party for a web promotion company that dealt primarily in adult film. And for some reason, they wouldn't let me get changed in their bedroom. They like made me move my stuff in between their bedroom and their bathroom because they thought I was going to steal out of their bedroom, I guess. And that was a pretty creepy instance. And the other creepiest instance was I got a Facebook message, which is always just a plethora of well-worded, just garbage. And the sentence said, "Your Y-O-U-R hot drinks ? Your hot drinks." And it took many I was confused and ended up engaging with this person, unfortunately. And there was a sort of like a couple hour long back and forth with this person. And the person said many things about how I was a slut, and he had heard that I was a slut, and that's why he was contacting me, because he knew of my burlesque career and was therefore propositioning me for sex. But after I had repeatedly denied that was true, because I was also 19 at the time and didn't realize that you shouldn't talk to people like that, like you should just ignore it, the conversation ended with the gentleman saying, "Oh, well, I come really fast anyway, you wouldn't want to sleep with me." And then I never heard from him again. So it was really like that was one of the I guess, better stories. Okay. Well, let me see here.
We have since fired that intern.
All right, well that's a good lead into this
Yes.
question.
That time-traveling intern that went back to before you.
Oh no, I've had interns for years.
Okay. The next question is somewhat related to that. Do you consider yourself a sex worker?
Yes.
Well, Annie, as a black man, who performs burlesque, a person who essentially gets naked in bars. I do not. I think that there's a dividing line between intimacy with people that I think we brush against the edges of sex work without actually like actually delving into it. I don't think that I don't think that it makes sense for us as burlesquers to like completely identify as sex workers. I also think that Russell is wrong about everything. And it's important to realize that when he agrees with something that you should immediately disagree. Because he's clearly wrong.
As someone who has worked in the sex industry, I 100% do not believe burlesque to be a part of the sex industry. Burlesque has a rich history, very integrally a part of sex work. Like, you cannot separate the two from their history. But in the way that burlesque is approached in the modern age, it is not a service industry the same way that sex work is a service industry. Working in a club as a stripper is a very different experience. Working as a burlesque dancer, it is 100% about being what your audience needs to. You're manufacturing this fantasy that the audience has of you, versus in burlesque, you are creating your own fantasy of yourself, and it's more about reappropriating that objectification. The world famous Bob, who is an amazing New York burlesque performer, says, "We're not sex workers, we're sexy workers."
Oh, you wanted to rebut? What's your rebut?
Anybody want to rebut? Nobody's rebutted yet.
I'll let it go.
Somebody has to rebut to
I'll
something.
let it slip and slide.
What?
Never mind. Just keep going.
Okay.
Ignore breast stuff.
Okay. So, well, this is also somewhat related. What do you think about the trends? I know with some New York burlesque shows and some burlesque shows in almost incorporating live sex acts on stage. What do you think about that trend?
This is actually something that my fellow candidates and I have discussed quite a bit. The idea that the new payoff for burlesque is now making out at the end of a number, or some way physically like involving another person as a prop and having that be the final reveal, or the final payoff. And while I don't think that it's necessarily inappropriate, I don't think it has no place in burlesque. I feel that sometimes it's used as it's beginning to become overused, I feel. There's a space for it in certain numbers, but you don't have to make out with your best friend at the end of every number in order to get a reaction from the audience.
Well, as a black man, I agree. So that's a trend in Philadelphia. I think as a black man from New York, I can talk more to your original question about where there's actual sort of live sex acts happening on stage, and that's a very specific thing that happens for a very specific audience, and I understand it in that case. And it happens for those audiences in places, and they can only get access to those kinds of shows through certain networks. And that makes sense. What I find a little difficult is when I see 5 acts in the same week that sort of the basis of those acts are, one person making out with another. It makes me wonder, like, where the overall payoff for the act is. If that's like, is that for the audience? Is that for the people performing? I'm not sure at that point. Like, I don't know. I get confused, and I'm not a super huge fan of it.
Where are these shows happening?
The Victoria Free House.
Oh, okay.
On Mondays.
On Mondays.
Full Front Street.
Full Front Street. Okay, I'm going to search for that for Google. Siri, search for Full Front Street, Mondays at Victoria Free House, hashtag naked. Okay, geez. Oh, alright. I see exactly what you guys are talking about. No, I see there should be more of that. There should be more getting naked and making out with people in the audience. There should be more tarps. We should build a tarp on every stage. We should take every kind of viscous, slippery liquid and pour it on ourselves. Tons of glitter and...
Sorry, I need to interrupt you there and begin with the follow-up question, which is, what do you think of performers who make a mess on stage? Like, with either fake blood or whipped cream or things like that. Are there things that you can do to prevent the whipped cream from getting on other people's costumes? Or
Lick it off.
I think our corporate sponsor doesn't like that question. So we're gonna go to another question.
Well played. I agree.
We'll just edit that out of the okay.
Everything. You saw nothing. Nothing.
All right. In 2016, there have been a few burlesque shows which have been shut down, like by the police or the city or whatever. I don't know of it happening in Philadelphia yet, but one of them was in East Hampton, near where Martha Stewart lives. One of them was in Mississippi. One of them was in like Phoenix, I think. And all of them cited rules about alcohol and live nudity, which are sort of like local ordinances and stuff, and other things about permits. I guess what I'm asking is, in the current social and political climate, should burlesque performers be afraid of that becoming a trend?
You don't even have enough carrot.
Well, we do have to, I think it's important for every burlesque dancer to understand that by performing nude in any capacity in a bar, it is illegal. What we're doing is 100% illegal, a good percentage of the time. I mean, I personally have had shows shut down at bars due to them not having a cabaret license. It's happened in Philly before. I don't necessarily see it becoming a trend in more liberal cities like, fortunately, we live in. But I know for a long time that burlesque in the South has been fighting against blue laws, and it's something that, as a community, I believe it's important for everybody to rally behind these people that are fighting these arbitrary rules about specifically female nudity, and to help our fellow community members, even if it's not happening at home.
Well, Annie, as a black man who is constantly persecuted by the police, I think it is worrisome in a way. I believe that we have to understand like what laws exist and try our best. You know, sometimes our pasties fall off, we get sweaty, and I mean, it's as a black man, it's not an issue for me. I can be nipple free, but my opponent here, Sway, like once that happens, like she puts the entire show in jeopardy. There's no fairness to that. I think that, as she said, we do have an obligation to support like the broader community who live in places where those sorts of things are like completely frowned upon. And we're all lucky to live in a city as liberal as Philadelphia. It's not quite as liberal as New York. Can I tell you guys how cool New York is? Okay, I'll move on.
Well, thank you once again. Great question, Annie. And I will say we should double down on our double standard. I think everyone should wear pasties. no holes bared. Everyone's asshole should be covered. I'm looking at some members of my own troupe. You might have to pay a toll to see him, but there's been occasional times in my own party where we've, flashed a little wink and a nod, and I think we need to stop that. I think we need to build a paywall if you want to see the brown eye.
Rebuttal! Rebuttal!
No rebuttal.
Rebuttal!
Someone needs to rebuttal.
Build a paywall.
I need to have my questions done. Okay. All right. Okay. What do you think about offering drink tickets as considering them as part of compensation? So when a producer hires you for a show saying it pays $50 and you get 2 drink tickets. And the other part of the question is, what do you think of all the alcoholics in the burlesque community?
Well, Annie, as an alcoholic of the burlesque community, and a black man. Woo! Okay, drink tickets are a perk. They are not part of pay. It's not part of any venue sort of. It's part of the venue's package to the producer. It's not part of the venue's pay to the producer. Anyone who considers a few drinks as part of the pay for the show is clearly an asshole. Yes. Okay, and you should reconsider working with that asshole again. And I'll leave that there.
As a functional alcoholic, please give me free drink tickets, but don't expect me to be happy that that's the only thing I'm getting paid to do. I like money. Money can buy alcohol. I like to drink alcohol when I'm not performing sometimes. Sometimes I don't like to perform when I'm drunk. Sorry. But no, I think oh, that's...
Dinner's ready.
You're dinged.
I think that if you're assuming that drink tickets are part of compensation, let's assume drinks are between $7 and $9 a piece at whatever bar you're performing at, there should be an option for non-drinking performers to have that $20 instead of having the drink tickets. I've only recently started drinking when I perform, but I started performing when I was 18, and I couldn't drink for 3 years, and those bar tickets were useless to me. I never considered that part of my payment. And thank you, Brenzo. And I think that the requirement of alcohol in burlesque is something that I would like to see fought against. I would like to see more shows in venues that didn't have alcohol at all.
Yes.
Yeah, Mile High.
All right, I think we're just going to ask a couple individual questions. If you really have something to say after the performer answers, you might have to make it a rebuttal so that we can see some butts. All right. Let's see. Brezzo, if you were elected, who would be on your cabinet?
Well, that's a good question. I'm actually going to start a House of Representatives and a Senate. So there's going to be a ruling class that are classless. Everyone is going to be voted upon by themselves, self-appointed, and basically, I've got really empty pockets. Let's just say that.
Sharp Robert.
Oh no, this is not Bretso. Please don't confuse us. This happened before.
Is the term boylesque inherently sexist?
Well, Annie, as a black man.
Yeah.
I personally don't appreciate the term burlesque. It doesn't offend me. I think that we're all people who get naked in bars. We are all burlesque performers. I was once asked in an interview, and this actual true story, not like the other lies I've told tonight.
We do have a fact checker at home.
All right.
So who's asleep?
Yeah.
And I don't know. They asked me if I was upset that there were things that women could do that I was not able to do, and I was like, what, like have a baby? Like, I mean,
Breastfeed.
like, well, here's the thing, like, they were talking in the context of burlesque, and that didn't make any sense to me, because as a male burlesque performer, in the context of burlesque, you can do anything that you see the female performers do if you work hard enough, right? And the thing is there's the actual dividing line, I think, between male and female burlesque performers is the amount of time and commitment that goes into it. And and to be honest, there's no, I don't know, I don't think there's any actual real physical challenges that divide boylesque and burlesque. So I think it's all burlesque, and really it's just about being a shitty performer or a good performer.
Okay, this question is for Sway. What do you think of the sexualization of underage characters in burlesque?
So,
Go, Mama.
I recently have spoken out against the sexualization of underage characters in burlesque, and I am the first to admit that I have performed I have performed characters that are young children on stage. This includes performing at the Nerdlesque Festival. Yes, I did perform at 18, so I was basically a burlesque infant then. But I've portrayed characters that were under the legal age of consent, and I've done it at festivals, and I'm not necessarily proud of that fact. And I think that there are very rare cases where it is acceptable, and I don't think the numbers that I did necessarily qualify for that. I think that you have to, when you're doing burlesque, which is an inherently sexual art form, when you're portraying characters that are childlike or are children, there's this line that you have to be very aware of, and more often than not, that line isn't really paid attention to, and we just see adults that are doing this thing. I mean, the sexualization of children already happens in day-to-day society. Women looking younger makes them more desirable. There's this pouty, sexy baby thing that's super fucking in right now. Fuck you, Melanie Martinez. But I'm first to admit that I have unfortunately been a part of that in the burlesque community. It's not something I'm proud of. It's something that we need to be very aware of, especially in this era of global information, where the characters that we are portraying could potentially find the footage of us portraying them. Like, the actors who portray these characters could potentially find that footage. And do you want to be responsible for this child seeing a sexualization of them? Like, is that something you are really prepared for? And if they did see it, would you be comfortable with them watching it?
Thank you.
Roboto!
I agree for now.
Questions from the audience?
We should do some questions from the audience. I feel like I had one more. Oh, I do have one more question, and then we're going to take questions from the audience. The last question, we're going to start with Brezzo again, but they're all going to answer. You guys are all going to answer this question. Is it ever okay to do a number inspired by quote-unquote ethnic looks? For example, like that an ethnicity that is not your own. Like if any of you were to do a geisha number.
As a white man.
Is that your answer?
You did yellow face.
I'm gonna spank it.
You did yellow face
I'm gonna
2
fucking
weeks
spank
ago,
it.
Brett. So 2 weeks ago, you did yellow face.
I was
okay?
Donald Trump.
I'm gonna spank
Orange face. Orange face.
He's German. I'm like 25% German. It's okay. My grandmother was a German princess.
I have pictures on my phone of his yellow face.
Was that a rebuttal?
Honestly, as a black man, this is really complicated because my culture has been appropriated no matter what we do for about 60 years, right? Or hundreds of years. Like there's nothing that we have created that has not been appropriated. You know, in a way that we have had to sort of accept. This whole cultural appropriation thing is completely new. It's sort of murky waters. I personally believe that if you're going to go out and do a geisha number, an Asian deity, anything like that, like you are crossing a line, and I can't like your act even no matter how beautiful it is, no matter how well performed it is. It's the same line that happens if some amazing white male performer was to do a Black Panther number. Makes no sense, right? Yeah. So, like, you have to be careful when you're looking at a character that is made for another culture when you decide to perform as that character. You have to be very careful. And you need to ask 20 people, not 2 of your friends, if it's cool if you do it, because 2, that's not enough of a sampling size. Ask 20 of your friends first, and like, if 3 of them say it's not okay, it's not okay. All right? Because there's going to be people in the audience, like me, who's going to walk around talking shit about you for about 4 months.
Yes.
I completely agree with Robert in that it's almost like impossible to accurately or elegantly portray a culture that is not your own, and almost impossible that I would say it is impossible, and I've never seen it done well. That being said, burlesque itself it has a history of appropriation, and this history of exoticism of the races, including from the very beginning of burlesque in the 1890s, of Middle Eastern muscle dancing and belly dance being appropriated by white carnival performers and creating what we know as the bump and grind. I mean, almost all of the movement of burlesque was created by people of color. Almost all the movement that we would do even now in club dancing or in social dancing is created by people of color. And if my response is not that like, oh, if we're doing these things, we can't do those either, it's just we have to be really aware of our history, and we have to pay attention, and we have to be very conscious, especially in a predominantly white scene. It's unfortunate that white people created basically nothing good in the arts, and that there's very few cultural pools that are deemed interesting enough for us to take creative inspiration from them.
Oh, okay. So I think, raise your hand if you have a question for our candidates. Everybody raise your hand now if you have one, because I want to know how many questions we have.
I do. I don't know what it is yet.
All right. We should probably do that. So we're going to start with Jennifer. Jennifer, is your question for the whole group?
Yes.
Okay, here you go.
So the president is all about leadership and vision. So what is your vision for the burlesque community in Philadelphia?
I think it's about like 240 over 120. I'm not exactly sure. It's really bad though. But
No, he technically answered. It was just a terrible joke.
Non-response.
Thank you for that question, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
As a black man, I gotta say on November 9th, you guys are all really gonna be missing Barack Obama. And if you want another cool black president to talk about, you should be voting for Sharp Robert. My vision My vision for the burlesque community is me at the helm. Correct. Thank you for the answer, sir.
Yeah, white guy.
My vision for the Philadelphia burlesque community is to just further the amazing progress we've made as far as expanding our scene in the past couple years, and also hopefully start to provide environments in which we can critique each other's work honestly and give feedback so that we can all become better as a whole.
Very well. We have another question, I think. Are you ready with a question? No? Okay.
You should finish like half that drink.
Are you ready with a question?
I will be.
So, running for the president, the self-appointed president of Burlesque, why have none of you had a rebuttal this evening?
Woo!
Sorry.
I'll start. Thank you, kind sir.
Welcome for your platform.
I'd like to know. As a black man, I found everything that the amazing Bresso has had to say tonight to be absolutely outrageous and ridiculous and not even worth listening to. You shouldn't acknowledge anything that he said tonight. So giving him a rebuttal is kind of like saying, "Oh, you have a voice." He has none. He has none. We do not hear him. He exists in his own head. And honestly, I agree with Sway in a lot of issues. I think that me and Sway have similar platforms. I'm just going to copy and paste hers on my website tomorrow. Except I'll still be the black man. So you should still vote for me.
I think that as burlesque performers, it's important to have the element of tease, and if we gave it all away at the beginning, it wouldn't be burlesque.
Oh.
There's still 10 minutes left. You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, did you?
Is this a rebuttal?
I thought he answered.
It's rebuttal.
Rebuttal.
Did I?
You already had an answer.
If you want to talk, you have
I
to.
don't have a full house.
Do you need to rebut? Do you actually have something to say?
Never mind. Go back to your Pokemon.
I would like to point out
okay.
he's videotaping himself right now next to us.
We have another question from the audience.
All right, we've talked about presidents having one voice and being able to speak clearly and understand their sentences and their media. Now, how many, when it comes to Facebook and multimedia platforms and everything else, how many pages, personas, and everything else does you feel is too much?
Oh boy.
I love you, Fluffy.
When it becomes necessary to search your own pages category, like you have to use a search function to find what you're looking for, you have to scroll through a list, that's when I believe is unnecessary. As someone who runs multiple businesses, I have like 10. So I can't say like, oh, 10 is too many because Brent made too many jokes. But I think that if you're not producing regular content on them, then 10 is too many.
I'm going to say this as a human being and not as a black man.
Wait, oh.
Check for pods.
That might have been racist, Jennifer. Okay, so... Okay. So... I have personally melded sort of my actual Robert Kennedy persona and the Sharp Robert persona. There's no real difference between the two things.
Integrity.
I am, however, the admin of about 8 pages. I have created none of them. They have all been created by the amazing Bretzel as Brouhaha. And he has,
oh, fuck that guy.
And he has made me the admin of these pages. And
do you get notifications for them?
And I have, in my pages manager, because I also run my own business on, I have multiple businesses as well.
Wait, that's an act of war, Bretso. Do you arbitrarily put Robert on pages so he gets notifications constantly?
I do. I get a pages manager every Friday update that says, oh, your page better than Bretso, which I did not create. Bretso created.
Lies and slanders.
Has like 8 new notifications. I feel required to look at those notifications. Have you used the page? It's horrible. Nobody wants to look at those notifications. And I believe that the number is murky. I believe that the usage of the pages and their value is important. And one of my opponents on this stage, I really only have one opponent on this stage.
Thank you.
Yeah. Seems to not understand that. He appears to believe that marketing is annoying people. And I'm not sure that that's the right approach when you're trying to endear people to your positions. However, I don't get it. I don't understand. And I have no control over the pages that he makes me admin of.
Thank you. That was a great question, and also a personal attack on myself and my brand.
No attack.
I believe currently I have 39 pages, and that's not enough. I'm going to 69. I only have 408 notifications on my page manager, and that is. The other candidates can attest to that. I have 408 notifications.
They're all you!
Well, I do believe in self-love. And self-realization.
Wait a minute, rebuttal! They're all you!
Thank you, Slay.
Prove it.
Thank you.
No, I feel like I don't even remember the question anymore. Sorry, not sorry. Coming soon, tomorrow on Facebook.
Okay, we're going to have one more question from the audience, and then we're going to let you make your concluding statements.
Ooh.
Thank you. So, I am a concerned tax-paying citizen of the Philadelphia Burlesque community, and I was wondering what each of you are all going to do to address the problem of too much jazz music and pop music and have some more Van Halen in numbers.
Yeah!
There's nothing, unfortunately, that we can do to change the taste of the performers in the Philadelphia Burlesque community. It is, however, important that we have more shows that introduce conceptual numbers that could tribute the artists that we love with more accuracy.
I'm sorry if I got glitter on the mic. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. Occupational hazard.
Trademark Bretso.
Thank you, Paul,
You're welcome.
for that amazing question. As a black male producer in the Philadelphia burlesque scene, I strive to shut up in the front.
Oh! There goes your vote. Oh! Audience.
Okay. As a black male producer in the Philadelphia burlesque scene, I strive to give my artists the license to do what they want on my stage, sort of in the confines of my themes. I don't think that it's a producer's job to sort of, I don't know, like restrict which kinds of music are used in an act. However, you're informed by that artist's other work. when they come to you to be in your show, and then that's when you can decide.
I would like to take this time also as corporate sponsor to remind you that tomorrow night is 6x6 over at the Raven Lounge. If you like rock and or metal music, there, if you show up, yes sir, there will be, as your corporate sponsor, we will give you whatever you want. You just give me your money.
Woo! There are some promises.
Oh, you still have to.
No.
Thank you. That's a great question, Mr. Saphir. It was everything I was looking for.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, son. I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I feel like everyone could be educated more. Even if you aren't taught for teacher, I feel like right now is the time to make burlesque again.
Make burlesque again.
It's so hard to train these people.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming
That's
and
still
listening
racism, Jennifer.
and vote. There is another event related to these shenanigans. The hashtag self-described president of Philadelphia Burlesque is having an event. When is it?
On November 18th, we'll be having our election upstairs here. We will be having individual ballot boxes that are our tip boxes, and you vote with your money. And all the proceeds go to the Women's Medical Fund. That's our charity.
That's real. That's awesome.
We will also be, they're sending us email lists and things like that so people can sign up to learn more about the Women's Medical Fund, and that is upstairs on November 18th. I probably invited, I'm sure, most of you on Facebook. And
I know none of these people. None of them.
And not only will we be performing, but the other member of Hashtag The Worst, Taylor Sweet, will be performing, as well as a few other special guests.
Cool. All right. If you would like to each make a closing statement, now is the time. And then we will have Full Front Street, which is Philly's only weekly burlesque show, hosted by Honey Tree Evil Eye. And again, there's an additional cover charge to stay for the stripping. All right. We'll start with Brezzo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been a beautiful time, and you've been a beautiful audience. Please remember to stay for Full Front Street. Hosted by Honey Tree Evil Eye, DJ'd and produced by Josh Schoenwolf, producer of Burlesque, every first Friday at Taboo. Also, second Fridays in town in DC. Third. We're taking over now. We're just Boston in, Boston out. Also, please make sure you attend the next Honeygasm every first Sunday at Frankie Radley's.
So I feel like there was an issue that I was hoping would be brought up in the debate that wasn't, and I'm just going to talk about it, use my time right now to talk about it real quick. So we all know that Brezzo is horrible, but what we haven't talked about is the influence of his Norwegian girlfriend on him.
Sir, she is my pre-wife, not my girlfriend, my pre-wife. Pre-wife.
Look at her face.
Pre-wife.
And
we're engaged.
What is his connection to the Norwegians? What do the Norwegians even want? Why is her name America Online when she is clearly Norwegian?
I am not Norwegian.
Oh.
You made a Nordic person cry. It's very hard to do.
It's like an act. I do this all the time.
Sit, Ubu, sit.
I I would like to thank our entire community for indulging the ridiculousness that is the hashtag self-described Philadelphia presidential campaign. Thank you so much for supporting Women's Medical Fund, and please come out on November 18th and vote. And pick the girl.
Thank you very much. I think there's a break here before the next show. Do you have anything to say, Honeybee?
And where's the bucket?
I actually do want to thank everybody for coming out. We have the bucket here again. So Women's Medical Fund is an incredibly good thing for us to support, and many burlesquers have done fundraisers for them before, and they've been incredibly grateful for it, which is also an important thing to say, because there are a lot of fundraisers that we do as burlesquers, and the places are like, don't tag us.
No, I got an email today that they were like, "Thank you so much for hosting 2 fundraisers. They're incredible people."
So yeah, so it's to point out that not only is it a worthy cause, because there are many worthy causes, but this is a worthy cause that likes us back. And
they like us.
Yeah, so I think that's worth pointing out. They do good work, and they don't just take our money. They also they helped support this event. They also promoted this event, so I just want to thank them. Yeah.
Also, if you are not available on November 18th to attend the election, we will also have a specific link to the Women's Medical Fund so that you can donate online if you want to donate directly to the charity.
Digital dollars!
Does that count toward the voting?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's just to donate to the Women's Medical Fund.
So thank you all for coming out. Thank you to Annie Abon for moderating. You did a fantastic job. You're hotter than Anderson Cooper.
She's very bombastic.
Yeah, so that's saying a lot. So thank you, Annie Abon. Thank you to all of our candidates. Thank you all for coming out and supporting this. Thank you to my co-producer Josh Schoenwolf for playing ridiculous music at the beginning. And if you hang out for a couple more minutes, we're gonna have crazy good nudity. It's gonna be legit.